Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker with a tea that is a yellow tea. Movie stars, celebrities got into white teas, and that kind of gave white tea a boost. But this is not a green. It's not a white tea. This is a yellow tea. I'm going to go ahead and start it off here. I'm getting out enough. I could have used my spoon, but it's just as convenient if your hands are clean, no fragrances or anything on your hands, to just kind of drop it in. And I'm using enough to cover that bottom inch to inch and a half diameter of my gaiwan here. My water's been brought to a boil. It's been cooling for just under a minute, so it's still got plenty of heat to it. So we'll let that start off and steep. What is a yellow tea? A yellow tea is one that goes through a lot of similar processes to a green tea, but there's another step where it's placed in a damp, warm environment. Think of it as a stage where some oxidation or the processing takes place. It's like a sauna for a tea. So the heat, the moisture causes some slightly different reactions and brings out some different characteristics with a yellow tea. This particular one is from Wendell. This is their HuoShan, which is the mountain, one of the traditional homes for a tea called HuoShanYellowSprouting, or Hua Mountain Yellow Sprout. And so this tea is called HuoShanYellowSprouting tea. You can get 2 ounces. You can get other volumes there, but 2 ounces available for $21. Mark T. Wendell's product page tells us that this is from Anhui province, although it doesn't go into a lot of other detail. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and give this tea a look through on the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor, starting off a little bit here with the dry. Give this a shake. At a first glance, this looks very similar to green teas, especially Chinese green teas. Aromas are fairly light. There is something. It's not quite vegetal. It's more of a. There's almost like a salty, thick, almost like a bacony type, smoky bacon smell. And it's faint. But it's just kind of a richness, a thickness, a dense, think about a dense beef broth type of smell. There's some of that kind of aroma coming off here. Let me go ahead and just pull out a few of these leaves. I'm just going to grab them grab a pinch here and look at them in my hand. A lot of these are more than an inch in length, fairly good size. A lot of these leaves look to be intact. Rolled into the center, like if this was the flat leaf and the sides curled in towards that middle vein. So it's long, narrow, not twisted like it's been twisted down the length. But you also get some leaf pairs or leaf sets. You may have like a jello indication of a bud with maybe one. Here's one with 1 or 2 leaves to it. So you can have leaf pairs or leaf combinations like that, or leaf bud pairs. You do have some portions of leaves here. I would say a lot of these are mostly intact leaves or sets. I'm trying to think if I had to get a number here, just what I pinched out. Maybe 30% is not fully intact or not leaf sets, but smaller portions of leaves. So that gives us something to look at and consider that. So it's maybe not the higher grades could have smaller, more delicate leaves, fewer leaf portions, more intact leaves. But I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to get ready to pour this. So I'm going to angle my lid over to the side. Let me get this out of the way. Get my pitcher here. And now with my fingers here on the side, on the rim, Index finger holding the lid in place. There we go. Those last few drops out. Looks good. Set that aside for just a moment to talk about this wet leaf here. Give it a smell first. Some of your green tea type smells, smells that I associate with teas more often from Zhejiang province, Anhui province, those kind of green type of smells, and that is this one is a light, faint kind of a green bean type note, smelling like a steamed, long, slender, almost like the French cut style. If you were to take a French cut green bean and steam it rather than, say, boil it. Underneath that, maybe a faint amount of nuttiness, nondescript nut. I can't say it's really toasted almond at this point, or perhaps just a little bit of a warm soybean type note. Okay, let me pull out a few of these leaf portions. I'm going to drop these. Well, here's a nice one. Here's a couple of nice ones. For example, a set here, stuck to the lid, so I'll keep that. A leaf, and looks like a needle or a leaf that hasn't fully unfurled just yet. Kind of set there. Let me put some of these aside. Another leaf here that is mostly, looks to be mostly intact. Let me make sure as I kind of gently tease it open there. That looks, over an inch, inch and a half probably in length. You do see a little bit of, every once in a while, this one and the previous leaf I pulled out there, you see some little patches of darker color, like a light brown rust type color, like a little oxidation, may have a little bruising, may have caused a little bit of oxidation there. Let's see, what else do I have? Another set, 2 leaves and a tip or bud there. Okay, let me set that down. A lot of these are fairly tender, medium-sized leaves, not the longest I've ever seen, but not the shortest either. Let me pull out just one more nice, tender. Okay, this is a nice set actually, so go ahead and put that there as well. So lots of sets, lots of intact leaves, some kind of patchy oxidation, it looks like, that took place there. Okay, so set that aside. I'm going to move on and talk about this liquor. Getting the cup ready. Give that a swirl for just a moment. As you see, a fairly bright, clear, golden, bright color there. That's nice. Give that a pour, a sniff here. Light aromas. First impression, I picked up something that was just a hint, just a faint touch of lightly boiled yellow corn. Okay, let me give this in the cup here. Still a good clarity, not murky, cloudy. Still looks got a lot of shine to it, a lot of brightness there. Now this will taste fairly similar to, if you're new to yellow teas, this one will taste very similar to green teas that you may have tasted before, especially Chinese green teas like I mentioned, from Huangshan, Maofeng, which is one. There's some Zhejiang types of greens that are familiar, similar to this. So that's here. There's kind of there is a gentle, again, light, kind of steamed, lightly cooked green bean element here. At the same time, this one's fairly lower, especially compared to some greens, in bitterness, astringency. And what's happening is there's a lot of activity going on in the aftertaste. In the aftertaste, there is, okay, so starting off, as you just swallow, as it sits on the very back of the tongue, and as you swallow, you get a little bit of a starchiness, but then that falls back, and you get the sweetness building up in the back of the mouth, starting underneath the tongue, upper part of your throat there. It just kind of spreads underneath the bottom of your tongue and folds over the sides to the top of the tongue. So it's a nice, rich sweetness that builds up. That aftertaste, that sweetness is fairly intense. I mean, it's not overwhelming, but it's good, consistent, lasting. So it's nice in that sense. And this kind of experience has a bit of a fresh, tender bamboo shoot. If you've ever had real fresh, tender bamboo, it does have a sweetness. It does have a kind of a starchiness, and some of them do have that kind of, again, that kind of sweet aftertaste to them as well. So there is an almost bamboo element here. Okay. This, compared to other yellow teas, not as smooth as some. There's a smooth feel that's slightly diminished in this one compared to some others. Could be a little bit more mellow than some of those others as well. But if this were to be your first endeavor into a yellow tea, this would be a good, rewarding and safe choice. Like I said, got some nice aftertaste there, not excessively bitter or harsh or astringent, so it's got some smoothness to it there. So I would give it a 90. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find out about yellow teas and maybe some other teas that you've never heard of before.